Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Special Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Josh McCoy. Alongside me is Aiden Swanson, as normal. And today we have Geron Hargon, a fellow 318 representative, Shreveport till we die, that type of stuff. Geron, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How about y'all?
Doing
Doing all
good.
right. Yeah, I can't complain. Uh, Me and Geron know of each other. We obviously don't know each other that well. He played at Captain Shreve, and I played at Loyola until I transferred over to IMG. Geron, just talk a little bit about Captain Shreve, Shreveport football, your life growing up in general.
Yeah, I guess as far as Shreve football goes, something that made it kind of appealing for me to go there was they weren't very good at the time, but they I kind of felt like they were on the come up, for a lack of better words, and went in there with a good group of guys and helped turn it around. Went to back-to-back district championships my junior and senior year, and ended up tying for the district championship. With lost the last game my senior year, but it was a 3-7 program going in, and it's kind of funny through the recruiting process. I saw a lot of the similarities with Rice. Like kind of new coaching staff, new blood, good group of guys coming in, and so. But as far as Shreveport, I was born there. My mom lived there. My dad's from South Louisiana, so I have some ties down there. But lived in Shreveport my whole life. Went to First Baptist growing up, and then went to Shreve.
So how was your recruitment process? I know your senior year you were expecting to play, and then what you played like a couple games or something, tore your ACL if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, I toured in the Battle on the Border in the Independence Bowl. Let's see, that was the second game. So we had like 2 scrimmages or something, and then so I played like 4 games, but only 2 regular season games. So
Did that affect your recruitment process?
as far as my commitment was really solid at the time, so I don't think I would have gone anywhere else. But as far as bigger schools talking to me, absolutely, because once it's a business, and I understand that 100%. That's how these guys make their living. So and even Rice, like they were solid with me after the injury, but and I respect the hell out of them for that. But you know, even they were honest and was like, if you weren't committed here, like that would have changed things. Like if you weren't already committed and you were still trying to go through the process, and because all ACL injuries are different, but you never know how a kid's gonna bounce back or anything like that. So, but I definitely think it impacted my recruitment, and luckily I was already committed. So.
Yeah, I mean, Aiden, we know about Justin having you going to go in a little bit about Justin, his heart issues and everything in that process. I mean,
Yeah. Um, you mentioned how Rice stayed committed to you, even though you got hurt, and that's a thing that you see a lot around the country with guys who are committed, and they have a bad injury in high school. They just all of a sudden like throw away his commitment. Like they don't want him anymore. Like it's crazy what some of these colleges do. But yeah, Josh mentioned Justin, and he was committed to TCU, right? And then
Justin Rogers.
no,
no,
just
not a different. No, this is a lineman, not a Shreveport kid, but yeah, yeah.
he was committed to TCU. Then all of a sudden, like he had a heart problem, and this was at IMG. So then, obviously, like he can play, so he went back home, and TCU pulled. Didn't they pull his scholarship?
I believe they pulled it because like he wasn't thinking he was going to be able to play football because of his heart issue or something.
Which I mean, I guess that's different. If he really thinks he won't play football again, but still, it just goes to show, like if you get injured in high school and you're looking to go to college in a few months, that's something serious that could happen.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Garen, how did you get your name out there in the recruiting process? Were you proactive, like reaching out to schools, or did you go to camps? I mean, I don't know how you played linebacker, right? So it's a little bit different position than kickers. So
Yeah. So, honestly, like camps weren't really my thing. I didn't, um, as far as contacting coaches, a lot of it was through Twitter DMs, and I guess you tweet your film out there, and I try and tell people when they're putting their film together, like, put your best clips like in the first 30 seconds, because if you put your games in order or just some average clips, like, they look at so much film every day that they're going to move on to the next person. Like, you got to really put the clips that jump out there at first. But Twitter was a big thing. Camps weren't really my thing, just because it doesn't really fit my strengths really well. Like, I like contact and playing football. Like, I'm not a great 40 time runner, or so I mean, camps are, I feel like you have to go to camps, and a lot of like offers that I found, like, a lot of people will like tweet out, oh, I've received an offer from here, but really it might just be an offer to come to camp. Like, there's so many uncommittable offers nowadays, and you really gotta sort through it all and find the ones that are real.
Yeah, that's been a real issue lately, is kids saying they received an offer when they haven't even received an offer, like an official offer. I've actually seen that quite a bit lately. There was another Shreveport. I don't know why Shreveport always happens with this, but there was a kid, I think it was last year, that literally on signing day was signing to, what was it, Ole Miss, and didn't even have an offer from Ole Miss or something. Yeah, I see that happening all the time. So how are you doing with your injury and everything? You fully back and feel better?
Oh yeah, so I did my rehab at the D1 building in Shreveport. So it's like split in two. It's like the Edge Physical Therapy and D1, and so I was able to kind of accelerate my recovery process, because I could go to like PT and then go right back to strength and conditioning, and do it all like within a couple hours every day. So that was really nice. But you never really are fully back until I think you have that first contact to the knee, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm all right now. But it's been good though. I mean, I wouldn't. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Definitely. It's definitely a process. Like, looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, like I really did that. It's like such a monster at first. You have to kind of just take it bit by bit, because it's a full 8 months, 6 months. If you really want to do it right, I think it's more like 8 to 12 months than 6. But no, everything's good now, and I'm glad I'm not having to do it again. But I think it definitely builds character through the whole process. It really humbles you. I remember days when I couldn't get in the shower on my own, and now I'm you take it for granted sometimes running around on a football field. But definitely something in the hot days of fall camp, you remind yourself, hey, like 6 months ago, like, you couldn't even get out of bed. So
Yeah. Aiden, do you have anything to add or say?
Hey, when you had the injury, what was sort of going through your head? Because I know a lot of kids, like, they really get in a bad mindset and get really negative about it. So what was going on when it happened in your head, and then through the recovery phase and getting back to normal, what was sort of your drive and motivation to get better?
So when it first happened, I actually didn't know it had happened. So it happened on like a sack in the game, and that was when the pop happened, and it was kind of just a weird feeling. Like, I can't really describe it. It's just a feeling I've never felt before. You're like, that's really weird. But the athletic trainer there, I don't even remember who it was like, we were doing all the tests, the ACL tests the trainers do on the sideline, and he was like, I really think it feels good. I was like, all right, well, we still have a game to play, so I guess I'm going back in there. And then it was the craziest thing. It was literally 2 plays after I went back in there. It was a fumble, or like they threw a swing pass and it was behind the line of scrimmage, and our outside linebacker came up and make a great hit, and the guy fumbled it. And so I picked it up and I ran it back for a touchdown. And at that point it was kind of a blowout. And so they pulled me out of the game, and this was like right before halftime. So I iced it up and didn't even really think anything of it. Like, all the coaches were asking, how does it feel? Said it felt great. I was jogging around. Next morning, woke up. Felt a little sore, but like still jogging around. And I was getting ready to go to practice on Sunday. And I wasn't even going to go get it checked out or anything. And my mom was like, well, maybe we should do it just to be sure. So I went to the doctor's office fully expecting to hear like, oh, yeah, you have like a knee sprain or you tweaked it and it was a torn ACL. So it wasn't like I've heard of cases where like guys can't walk. And I think that's more when you tear the meniscus with the ACL, as far as I can understand. I didn't tear my meniscus. It was just a partial tear of the ACL. So my reaction was a little delayed because obviously I didn't know that night. I knew like Monday of game week when we were about to play Scotlandville. So it was really just like shocking. Obviously, you know, senior year, you work so hard to get to that point. You're finally like the top of your class. You know, you've grown up with these guys. You're trying to win a district championship, go to state, all this stuff. So just extremely disappointing. But, you know, as far as what drove me to get back, I'd be lying to say there wasn't a period of time where it's just really dark and lonely and, you know, not as much during football season, because I really got involved in kind of like not coaching, but, you know, helping out the linebackers and because they were younger guys and just seeing like, all right, what are you seeing on this play, and just kind of trying to help them through the season. So football season wasn't that bad for me. It was more after football season when, you know, like it's a lot more quiet and you don't have all your guys around you and game days. Yeah, like just a lot more time to think about it. And you're still not close to being back, you know, like you're still just on crutches or hobbling around. And so that was more the dark time for me, was after the football season. But, you know, as far as what drove me to come back is I just love it. You know, like I love the camaraderie of being in a locker room with guys. And, you know, COVID kind of has taken that away now. We aren't really like allowed to be around all in the locker room that much because of contact trace and all that stuff. But, you know, like that's what makes it fun for me, is like the workouts and a winning locker room. Like I don't know I know y'all know how this feels, but like a winning locker room to me, like there's really not many things in the world, like after a huge victory, that like I've never gotten that feeling like doing much else in my life. So I don't know. I'm just kind of a junkie, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel that's whether you even played or didn't play. Like as a freshman, like that winning feeling is, yeah, it's a crazy feeling that only really sports can give you.
Right.
You don't really get that anywhere else. So your recruitment process, you'd say mostly took place during your junior year and earlier?
Yeah, I would say after my the summer going into my junior year, and then after my junior year, because sophomore year I started at linebacker, but it was kind of my first year playing linebacker, and so it was just kind of weird. But junior year I had a pretty good year, and that's kind of when it took off after that.
Yeah. So did coaches start reaching out to you, or were you like, I want to play college? Like, did you know you want to play college when you first like got to high school and that was your goal?
I mean, I think a lot of people say that, and then they realize like what it takes to do that, and so they kind of shy away from it. But so I think I said I wanted to. I didn't know if I really knew I wanted to until coaches started reaching out to me, and then you've kind of, it's kind of a love-hate relationship with the recruiting process. It's a lot of fun at first because, you know, like you're like, wow, like my hard work's paying off, and then it's kind of stressful, you know, like narrowing down where you want to go to school, and you form these relationships with these coaches, and you're having to tell them no. And I don't know. So by the end of the recruiting process, I was really excited it was over. But at the start of it, it was obviously like really fun going on visits, and they kind of treat you like you're special or something. And you know, a lot of people, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of people, I don't know, you know this, when they get to college, they still think that they're in the recruiting process. So when a coach is ripping you, you're like, wait, you're the guy that was so nice to me, trying to get me to come here. Like, what happened? And they're just getting absolutely ripped every day. And so recruiting's not real. And, but it's definitely the only time in your life that these 40, 50-year-old men will act like you're the most, like, they've never seen anything like you. But then you learn that they're saying that to like 8 other people, you know? So it's kind of just, it's funny. But, you know,
I'd say don't take really much to heart when they tell you stuff. So what other schools were you considering going to, and when did you commit to Rice, and what was different about Rice than other schools?
So my first interaction with like a school was I went on a visit to Mississippi State, and I didn't even really think anything of it. And next thing I knew, I was in. The coach at the time there was Joe Moorhead. He's the OC there at Oregon now.
Yeah,
But we had a great 20-minute conversation, and so I loved Mississippi State right off the bat. Then I went to a camp there. This is my hate relationship with camps, and I got hurt at the camp, fully expecting to get an offer and everything. So that kind of set me back with them. I loved UAB in the recruiting process. Coach Clark and Coach Reeves over there do a phenomenal job, and you know, kind of the thought of building back that program like they've done was really appealing to me. It was also, my girlfriend goes to Alabama. It was a 45-minute drive from there. It was my first year doing long distance, and you know, coaches will find any point that they can, and they will absolutely sell you on it. So I went on my first visit there, and they were like, you can wake up and go to church with your girlfriend on Sunday. And I'm like, man, I really miss my girlfriend. This sounds phenomenal. I was like, I might commit here. So I thought I was going to UAB for a lot of months. Then I got in contact with Ole Miss, and I thought I was going to Ole Miss, and, you know, but I ended up really liking Rice, and it was a new coaching staff with Coach Bloomgren. He came from Stanford. He was the OC at Stanford when they went to those Rose Bowls with like Christian McCaffrey and those guys. The defensive coordinator came from Michigan, and so I really like, you know, his scheme and really just a physical defense. And so, I mean, I've great education as well. So it was just a lot of things that were really appealing. You good, bro? Yeah. Just a lot of stuff that was appealing to me about Rice. You know, great education, new football staff. So I don't know, it kind of just felt right. Love the city of Houston. So.
Yeah. That's funny that they even said they knew like your girlfriend went to Bama and everything. And we actually know the quarterback at UAB, Bryson. That's our good friend from IMG. He was quarterback there at IMG. One of the best guys I've ever met in my life. Really good guy. So how has COVID impacted y'all's routine? Well, were you even pre-COVID or not really? Oh, you're fine.
Robbie Anderson needs to pick it up here.
Did you start him?
Yeah.
What's going on in the game? Are they winning?
6-14 Falcons.
All right, I'm sorry about that. What was the question?
No, you're fine. I was just talking about how it's like COVID affected you or in like your schedule, because like you weren't even really pre-COVID, or were you? Like you came in and it was all COVID already, so you've never even experienced before.
So we were supposed to enroll in like June, and then that got pushed back, and then I ended up going and coming here until like July 23rd or something like that. So it delayed it a month. And then once we got here, like, I mean, we get tested like 5 times a week, mask at workouts. And, you know, Rice has done a really good job, I think, of handling COVID. It seems really extreme at times to me just trying to play football. But and with that comes a lot of tests and a lot of just hammering home socially distancing and all kinds of stuff. So it's been a long process. And then our season got delayed. So we were supposed to start in September and play LSU and all this great stuff. And our first game wasn't until last weekend. So it's definitely been a process to get to this point, but glad it's here.
Yeah, it was at LSU, right? So you would have come back to Louisiana and play like at LSU, which would have been crazy.
It was actually in Houston. So
it was?
Yeah, we were going to play in the Texans Stadium. It was like a neutral site game. But my senior year, we're going to play at LSU. So I will get the chance to come back and play in Baton Rouge, which will be really.
And you'll be a senior, which gives you the best opportunity to be on the field. So I mean, that'll be awesome at the same time. How has the transition from high school football to college football been? Like the different schemes in the more advanced level of football?
Definitely a transition for me, especially at linebacker. Just in high school, it's a lot of just see ball, hit ball. It's a lot more plugging the right gap, a lot of different coverages. Without getting too detailed, like I know a lot of people are kind of bored about this stuff, but definitely different. I think our defense is pretty complex. We're pretty multiple and try and do a lot of different things. And with that, you have to. I feel like my knowledge of football has definitely gone up. It's not just as simple as it is in high school, and it's also a lot bigger guys. Like you would see. I know it's different for y'all at IMG because you play with these incredible athletes, but I mean at Shreve, like we played Terrace Marshall my freshman year, which was like you would see a couple of dudes and you'd be like, wow, like that's a dude right there. But like other than that, like you play a really good guy every once in a while, but you wouldn't play like everyone like is just good. And that's the biggest thing in college is like everyone was probably the best one on their team or the best one in their city, and now you're all trying to compete against each other. So you really got to focus more on the little things, like the smallest details. That's the biggest thing I would say is like the smallest details are like what makes the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Aiden know that too about kicking especially because like every kicker, like when you go in, like you got to be aware of walk-ons and other stuff. Like, I mean, anybody can beat anybody in that scenario.
Right.
I think my camera just died. Am I frozen, y'all? I'm like frozen in the most awkward place.
You're frozen.
Well, that sucks. Aiden, do you have anything to add?
No, I can't really think of anything. I think we asked some good questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was really good, and since my camera's frozen up now, that kind of sucks at the same time. Geron, thank you for coming on. It was awesome talking to you. We hope to get you on again soon. Talk a little bit more, maybe after the season's over and everything, and hope your season goes well, man.
For sure, I'm a little disappointed with you two being kickers and the quadruple bounce happening last week to us. I was kind of expecting a question on that, but it was great. I'm actually glad you didn't ask a question about that. But no, it was great talking to you guys, and I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe, and I really appreciate it.